All right, another one. When you're talking to somebody and you say, here, I'm very good at this, you can't just say I'm good at this. I can't say I'm a professional baseball player. I need to tell somebody, yeah, I played first base for the Dodgers. You need to prove to them why you were good at that or how you've been good at that in the past. If you are hardworking, you need to tell them how you were hardworking, or an example where you were successful because you were hardworking. You can't just make these claims and say, hey, I'm a millionaire. You need to take out $1 million and say, look, I'm a millionaire. Okay? Who's interviewing who? This is one of the biggest misconceptions when you talk about interviewing. Okay? The questions you ask them are just as important as the questions they ask you. You are qualifying them too. You will spend more time at your job than you will spend with the majority of your friends. If you're married, then probably as much time as you spend at home with your wife or husband. You're spending a large amount of time with these companies. We need to be asking questions to figure out, okay, do I want to spend 40 hours a week with this organization? So I would ask questions, and we'll talk a little bit more about this here in a little bit, but, what's your retention rate? How many of the people that were here 5 years ago are still here? What's your training program like? What are the job opportunities? Where's the growth within a company? Where's the ceiling? So I would come with a number of questions because you're interviewing them just like they're interviewing you. Questions asked. And these are questions actually not to ask. I apologize. No, these are the questions asked. Questions that reference something that you have researched. Okay? If you looked up something and said, okay, we're about to open up a new location in South Texas, ask about it. If there's something about a product that's sold or company, the org chart, who would I be answering to, that type of stuff, ask questions like that because it lets them know that you've done some research. Open-ended. I would just ask them, hey, do you like working here? Yep. I would ask them, so, why do you like working here? What is it about this company that you enjoy? So ask open-ended questions. A lot of times you can figure out more about them and about the company because they'll elaborate a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to give everybody a chance to read the last one. It is in bold. This is one of the big no-nos. Do not ask questions that are clearly answered on the website, in the literature that you've received, and most importantly, by the individual that is conducting the interview. So if they have said, we have 10 locations, and 5 minutes later you ask, so how many locations do you guys have? That shows that you're not listening. If you ask, so what do you guys do? You could have learned that on the website. If they gave you a packet to learn a little bit more about the company and it had a number of things in there, and you don't read through it, and you ask those questions, that is not being prepared for an interview. Do not ask questions that were answered on the website, in the literature, whether it was given to you by the person conducting the interview. Okay? A few of my favorites. These are tangible things. I write these down. These are questions you can ask in an interview. What are some strengths and weaknesses of this organization in relation to its competition? Where is the competitive advantage? This is also a great question to ask if you're thinking about going into sales. What you're asking here is, how can I be competitive with the people I'm going to be selling against? Okay? What are some of the goals of the company has for the next 5 years? And basically, how do I fit into that picture? How will the department play a role in that growth? I know there's going to be a number of these on here. My email address will be at the end of this. If you send me an email, I'll send you the entire slide presentation if you want it, as well as I think they typically post them up on the website as well. So some of these questions are going to be long for you guys. I'm going to write down real quick. What do you enjoy most about working for this company? If the person interviewing you cannot answer this question, I would think highly about going somewhere else. Okay? If they don't know why they like it, and they're the person that should know more than anyone else, then you may want to look into some other opportunities. Okay? If I were asked to join this team, how would my performance be measured? What do you think it takes to be successful in this position? This is my favorite one. If you ask this question, this can tell you exactly how to sell them on you coming to work for their company. At the end of the day, what's going to be the difference between the person you hired and the ones that miss out on that opportunity? They will tell you exactly why they will choose one person over another. And if you can find a way to work this into the conversation at the beginning, that gives you the entire interview process to talk about those items. They sit there and say, hey, I'm not looking for somebody who's got great grades. I'm looking for somebody who's willing to learn. I'm looking for somebody who's willing to work hard and grow. I'm looking for somebody who's willing to stay here for a long time. Okay? Well, if you didn't ask that question, you may spend half the interview talking about why your grades are so good, and they may not care. But if you ask this question at the beginning, then you can spend the whole time going, you know, I've had good grades, but I know that's not the most important thing. You know, in my opinion, you weren't born, you know, a hiring manager. At some point in time, you had to learn, and I'm willing to learn this role. You know, none of us were born nurses, or born doctors, or born athletes. At some point in time, you had to understand and learn a skill. And so this allows you to figure out what those hot buttons are, and you can spend the entire interview pushing them. Yes?
Is there a way to be able to get this PowerPoint?
Yes, I will send it out. Oh, no, not a problem. I'll send it out. My email address will be on there, and I think that you posted as well. But this last question, I think, is a very good one, okay? Especially if you can find a way to ask it early on in the interview. Take notes. Following up may be the most important piece of the puzzle. If they tell you to do A, B, and C, you need to make sure you do A, B, and C. They say, hey, when you get home, I need you to fill this out, do this, send me an email, let me know that you've done it, and also send this person an email and call me back in a week. You need to write that down, put it in your calendar, whatever you need to do, because if you miss a deadline while interviewing, they think that you're going to miss a deadline while working. Okay? So whatever they tell you to do, whatever action items they give you, write it down, make note, put it in your calendar, set an alarm, whether it's a rolling alarm, a flying alarm, a donating alarm, whatever it is. Whatever you need to do to remind yourself to take care of these things, do it. What to do? Thank you email ASAP. A lot of times I'll even send it in the car. I'll go out in my car and I'll send it right away. I also send a handwritten thank you card to anybody I spend any time talking to. If there are 5 people in the interview, I get those 5 people's names and I send them individual thank you notes. Handwritten, not typed up, handwritten. And then a follow-up call, unless told not to. And you may want to ask them, okay, what's the best way for me to follow up? And should I follow up with you? Are y'all going to be following up with me? And let them lay out the guidelines. If they say do not call, do not call. Okay? Don't say, hey, I know you told me not to call, but I just want to call real quick. Don't do that. And that's another one. You'd be surprised how many times people will do that. My wife, when working for Sewell, was the one that fielded all of those calls. And on the paperwork it says, we will contact you, please do not call. And she will get 50 phone calls a day saying, hey, just want to see how I'm interviewing. You know, so follow up unless told not to.